Sripadarajam Sharanam Prapadhye. Chapter-19, Meeting with Gurucharan. The Vallabheshwara Sharma couple, Subbanna Shastri and I were recollecting the Leelas of Sripada. In the meantime, a distant relative of Sripada named Linganna Shastri came there. He was a great scholar in the Vedas and Vedangas. Linganna Shastri said, I came to Pitikapuram for offering oblations to my forefathers at Padagaya Kshetra. Even though he was a religious and rich Brahmin, my grandfather was a great miser. With his vicious reasoning, he implemented the dharmas which are inscribed in the Shastras to his advantage. He interpreted the principle of Yada Shakti according to one's capacity in a perverse way. He used to offer the 10 types of traditional gifts that were meant for the satisfaction of the departed ancestors with very little money. He used to inwardly feel uncomfortable that during the annual Shraddha ceremonies, money was unnecessarily spent and that the guests were eating like gluttons as if it was a good opportunity. He used to be unhappy that his house was becoming a hollow shell robbed of all wealth with these rituals. My grandfather died after some time. My father also followed the footsteps of my grandfather. Time, which devours the world, devoured my father also. However, I used to carry out all the ceremonial rituals for my ancestors strictly according to scriptures to the extent it was appropriate for my capacity. Meanwhile, for no reason, quarrels were flaring up in our house and there was no peace of mind. Quarrels were occurring suddenly without any reason. After stepping into our house, even very calm going relatives were becoming very fierce and were starting to fight. Our house became a center for quarrels. My wife was angry with me and left for her parents' house. While I was asleep, my son sat on my chest and with his two hands tried to strangle my neck. My daughter in law was abusing me by saying, Many people of your age reach the burial ground. When will your turn come? My daughter harshly said to me that she must have committed lot of sin in some birth to be born as a daughter to a destitute like me in this life. My son-in-law was taunting me with sarcastic remarks like, There are no servants in our house. You are robust like a rock. You can come to our house and do work like sweeping the house, tending the cattle in the cowshed, and when required, you can go to the meals offered to Brahmins during religious rites and accept donation of the gingerly seeds. Even by starving ourselves, we can arrange glutinous food for you. You can cook the food, and if anything remains after you have eaten, you can give it to us. Life became thorny for me. Every living being develops an interest for life and feels that there is a certain sweetness in life. But in my case, it was clear that the life was no longer sweet for me. However, if I were to commit suicide and die, I was afraid that I would get the birth of a devil. It was clear to me that after my death, the funeral rites will not be conducted according to the procedures as specified in the scriptures. One day, I finished all the work that was entrusted to me in the cattle shed and was about to eat my meal. But my daughter in law gave me stale food. The food was stinky, and I also found some vermin in the food. As I was completely tired after doing manual labor, the extreme pangs of hunger caused me much more pain. I was even too weak to shed tears. I could not eat the stinking food, and I could not withstand the pangs of hunger. To me, who was in a most miserable state, a doubt cropped up in my mind whether this world, the people, and all these relationships were true, or whether all this was part of an illusion of the great Indra. My mind became dull and devoid of the power to think. Under such critical circumstances, an Avaduta gave me darshan in the cattle shed. Compassion was flowing from his eyes like a big stream. The moment I saw the divine compassionate form, I immediately started sobbing like a young boy. I had the awareness that I knew him from thousands of years. I fell at the divine feet of the Avaduta and held them to my heart. With his divine hands, the Avaduta touched the food. The food on the plate disappeared. In its place, there appeared on the plate a sweet preparation called halwa. The Avaduta took a small portion of the halwa and instructed me to eat the rest of it. I ate it with full satisfaction and regained vigor and strength. The Avaduta asked me to dig at the northeastern side of the house with an iron crowbar. After digging deep at that location, the skeletons of two dogs were unearthed there. I threw them out. The Avaduta told me to pour the porridge into the pit. I poured the porridge into the pit and covered it with mud. Then the Avaduta said, I have purged the evil effects of the ghost. The house is purified now. Your condition will slowly improve. You have been called by the Padagaya Kshetra, Pitikapuram. You have to leave immediately. Proper arrangements will be made for you. We will meet again in Pitikapuram. I started for Pitikapuram with the one outfit I was wearing at the time. I started immediately and did not inform anyone in the house. After I traveled for some distance, evening dusk approached fast. At that time, I was traveling through a mango grove. The owner of that garden, Narasimhappa, welcomed me. He offered me sweet fruits to eat. After eating those fruits, my hunger was assuaged. He requested me to accept his hospitality for the night in his house, and I agreed. The next morning, after I finished ablutions and morning prayers, he donated me clothes and offered some money to me as dakshina. I was surprised to note that the arrangements were properly made as was foretold by the Avaduta. Then the farmer said, Sir, yesterday in the afternoon an Avaduta appeared in my dream and informed me that a pious Brahmin would be walking through the grove. The Avaduta instructed me to give hospitality to that Brahmin traveler and to donate clothes and money the next day and to offer him mangoes to eat. I had the fortune of seeing you. I am lucky to be able to serve you. The farmer was exuberant. From this episode, it was clear that the Avaduta had supernatural powers and that he was an no ordinary Avaduta. I continued the travel while reciting the Vedic hymns. While I was traveling dressed in new clothes and chanting Vedic verses, I noticed that an electric current was flowing through all my nerves. On account of the flow of electric power, I experienced ineffable joy in my body. I noticed that a Vedic Pandit was behind me and was approaching me fast. He was reciting Savitri Panna from the Vedas. I also joined my voice with him and started reciting the Savitri Panna. Then the Vedic scholars said, Savitri Panna is very important in Treta Yuga. Bharadwaja Maharshi performed the Savitra Kataka Chayana Yagna. It was performed in Pitikapuram. According to the promise of Lord Datta given some time back, he has now incarnated in Pitikapuram as Sripada Srivallabha. The Vedas are approved by the Lord. Even though the authority for the recitation of the Vedas was given to the Brahmins only, authority to study them is given to all castes. Brahmins were worshipping Sri Krishna. What did Sri Krishna do? He was washing the feet of the Brahmins and was sprinkling that water on his head. You are very fortunate because you received the call from Pitikapuram. I then asked him who Sripada Srivallabha was and that I wanted to hear about his greatness. The Vedic scholar said, "My dear darshan of Sripada Srivallabha destroys all sins. He is verily Sri Dattatreya. Pitikapuram is his sportive birth ground. In ancient yugas, great people used to incarnate along with a main incarnation when the need arose. In previous ages, there was a pious couple named Sushila and Vishnudatta. That great devoted lady Sushila was experiencing unity with Mother Anasuya during her sadhana. On the day of Datta Jayanti, she experienced labor pains. Vishnu Datta, during his spiritual endeavors, was experiencing oneness with sage Atri. That state of the merger of different individual identities into one entity is non physical, uncommon, beyond the perception of mind and intellect, a divine mystery, one which cannot be accessed through speech, and one which is inexplicable. They are now born as Sumati Maharani and Appalaraja Sharma. Sripada was born as their child as a fruit of their intense penance in their previous lives. They belong to the Krishna Yajurveda sect, Apastamba Sutra, and the lineage of Bharadwaja. Labhada Maharshi, a sage from the Vaishya caste of an ancient yuga, was born as Bhaskaracharya during the time of the incarnation of Vasavi Kanyaka and as Bapanarya, father of Sumati Maharani, during the time of the incarnation of Sripada Srivallabha. You will see those great pious people in Pitikapuram. In a previous birth, the farmer who donated you clothes and money was working as a laborer under Subbaramaya Sresti, father of Venkatappaya Sresti in Pitikapuram. As he had meals in the house of the extremely pious Subbaramaya Sresti, he has now become a landlord from those great merits and is now enjoying all comforts. Venkatappaya Sresti and Narasimha Varma of Pitikapuram are very dear to Sripada. Those people have abundant devotion of parental love towards Sripada. I asked the Vedic scholar, "Sir, I observed that the bonds of action are very complicated shackles. It is said that during the yajna, if the Pavamana Gatam pot used in the yajna is broken, the head of the presiding priest will also break, and that he will die. In the yajnas that are performed these days, if by accident any one out of the three Pavamana Gatams is broken, the head of the presiding priest is not getting broken. What is the reason? If the things mentioned in the Vedas and scriptures, whether auspicious or inauspicious, do not happen, then the atheist will deride the Veda Shastras. The great person replied, "My dear, in the yajnas conducted in the present times, there are no life destroying materials like electric current, etc. in the Pavamana Gatams. The officiating priest who conducts the yajna must be a great spiritual practitioner. He must have the fire of yoga in him. only that yogic fire will help generate the electricity in the Pavamanagathams during the yagnas. If a great yogi presides and conducts the yagna, then immediate results will follow, which lead to the welfare of the world. Instead of that, if namesake exercises are done in the name of yajna, then we cannot derive the results enunciated by Veda Shastras. There is also a mysterious meaning in the monetary gifts of 16, 116, and 1116 numbers. A lineage relates to the father. This principle will not change as long as the creation continues. Sapindya, rule about marriage between relatives, relates to the mother. This principle will cease after 7 generations. A son and wealth are the two fruits of a marriage. To obtain these two, a fire called women is essential. How will Sripada have caste differences when he does not even differentiate between attributes? He preaches non dualistic perception. He does not preach non dualistic action. Just like Adi Shankara, Sripada has no partiality. Adi Shankara taught Hema Vidya, science of making gold, to the people of the Gauda caste who are of a passionate nature and who make a living by tapping toddy and who help others. Adi Shankara did not teach this Hema Vidya to Brahmins who are sattvic in nature. In the same way, Sripada extends his grace to all, depending on their eligibility and irrespective of their race, religion, color, and age. If Adi Shankara would have taught Hema Vidya to Brahmins, they would have turned into misers, would have gotten entangled in money and other enticements, and they would have forgotten about their rightful duties. Mind, intellect, ahankara, the ego, and the 5 elements, including earth. These 8 are called the inert natures. When combined with the nature of the animate world, which is represented by the number 1, they become 9. Numbers 2 through 9 represent the 8 inert natures. 0 represents the Brahma Tattva. Mathematics originated from numbers 0 through 9, representing the activities of the rudimentary natures are creation. Sripada used to jokingly ask for alms of 2 chapatis by saying Do chopati Deva Lakshmi. This represents the number 2498. Many meanings can be found in his every movement and every word. Number 2 represents all pairs of opposites in the creation. Number 4 stands for the Stula, Sukshma, Karana, and Mahakarana bodies. Number 9 is the symbol of the changeless Brahma Tattva, and number 8 represents Mahamaya. Sripada is Ardhanarishvara, androgynous form of Shiva and Parvati, the cosmic form of Sripada. I belong to the Penugonda village which used to be called Bruhatshilanagar. I am called Ganapati Shastri. I came to Vayasapura Agraharam for pursuing Vedic studies. I was learning the Vedas by serving a guru. My guru had some fields near his house. He had a large number of livestock. I went to the field for grazing the cattle. One day, a 10-year-old boy of brilliant luster came into our field in the guise of a cowherd. He was wearing a sacred thread around his neck. So I presumed that he was a Brahmin lad and asked him for confirmation. Then that boy said, I am that I am. All natures are in me. The basis for all is I am. It is not wrong if you presume me to be a Brahmin on seeing my Brahmanic features, but that is not the complete truth. It is not untrue if you think of me as a Kshatriya on seeing Kshatriya traits in me, but that is not the complete truth. Upon seeing the features of a Vaishya in me, it would not be untrue if I am considered as a Vaishya, but that is not the complete truth. It is not a mistake to think of me as a Shudra on seeing the traits of a Shudra in me, but that is not the complete truth. Even if you think I am a Chandala, it will not be a mistake, but it is also not the complete truth. I am beyond all limitations. I am beyond everything which appears as many truths and untruths, and I am the support for all those matters. I am the superior truth. That nature of truth is beyond all boundaries. My dharma is supreme dharma, that is beyond all dharmas and is also their support. By nature is supreme love. It is at a great distance from all traits of love in all creatures of the creation. Not only that, it is the base for all those things. If you consider me to be a male, I will behave like a female. If you feel that I am a female, I will behave like a male. If you assume that I am God Shiva, half male and half female, I will prove that I am the divine bliss which cannot be perceived by mind or speech, and which prevailed prior to the manifestation of those two forms. How can you know about me who has such peculiar characteristics? I felt all the above dialogue was the delirious talk of a person who has high fever. I thought that when there is excess of bile, one would indulge in incoherent and mad prattle. The boy who observed my mental condition said, I just spoke with Sanishwara. Shanishwara told me, O Lord, witness this entertainment. See how I will harass Ganapati Shastri by throwing him in very strange entanglements and bonds. However, I told Shanishwara that I am going to receive the consequences of the fate of Ganapati Shastri and that he, Shanishwara, cannot throw you into entangling shackles. On hearing those words, anxiety stirred up in me. In fact, a very bad period was transiting at that time, according to my horoscope. When I was in a state of daze, the cowherd went to a cow and asked, Gayatri, I am hungry. Can you give milk? That mother cow turned its head and expressed assent. Streams of milk started falling on the ground from its udders. The cowherd drank the milk to his full satisfaction. In reality, it was a barren cow, but it gave milk to the cowherd. All this was very confusing to me. That cowherd sat contented under a mango tree. When I saw him again, I noticed a 10-year-old girl wearing the outfit of a village belly with him. They were giving joy to the onlookers. Their merry conversations made them look like a happy couple. In the meantime, Sri Venkatapaya Sristi got down from the horse carriage. A brilliant, sparkling lad of 10 years was with him. I learnt afterwards that he was none other than Sripada Srivallabha. In memory of his father, Sri Venkatapaya Sresti donated this land to my Guru. Vast lands abutting this field were owned by Sri Sresti. Sri Sresti sometimes visited Vyasapura Agraharam from Pitikapuram to supervise his lands. Sri Sresti was amazed to see the cowherd and the girl because they were very closely resembled Sripada. In addition, they were very lustrous. Sripada said to Sri Sresti, "Grandfather, why are you so much astonished?" For that, Sri Sresti asked Sripada to look at those two people and remarked that the scene was a feast of joy for the eyes. Then Sripada asked whether the one who sees and the scene that was being seen were one and the same. Sri Sresti replied placidly that he did not know such philosophical matters. Sripada said, "Grandfather, what philosophy is there in this?" It is said that Sri Hari also became astonished on seeing the movement of his Maya, which has no limits. This creation is filled with the 9 types of emotions. One of the rules of the creation is to produce surprising and wonderful scenes. It is two. Here it is one. Is duality true or is non duality true? Am I one or two or many? Please think and tell. With these words of Sripada, a doubt arose in Sri Sresti whether the cowherd and the peasant girl were also the creation of Sripada. Sripada said, while caressing the chin of Sri Sresti, "My dear granddad, why do you doubt? As long as your family does not forget me, I and my Shakti will be moving in your fields in an invisible form. Spiritual pursuers will certainly hear and experience the sound of my footsteps in your house." Sri Anaga Dattatreya, along with his consort Anaga Devi, concealing his Ardhanarishwara form, is in your presence in the form of an Avaduta as Sripada Srivallabha. Do not have any doubt. When I appeared before Mother Sumati at first, before I was born as her son, I told her resolutely that no attempt to marry me should be made, and if such an attempt was made, I would certainly leave the house. Since you are a Rajashri who imprisoned me with your bond of pure devotion, I showed you my form of Anagha along with Anagha Devi. No action will take place without a cause in the presence of Sripada. The process of the creation is very, very strange. I will decide the actions, their consequences, and the time and place of their occurrence, imparting knowledge to the ignorant through my actions. Leelas and miracles is part of my avatar's program. Saying so, Sripada assumed the shape of a shining illumination and went towards the mango tree. While we were all witnessing, the peasant girl and the cowherd took the shape of a brilliant light and merged into Sripada. It is an impossible thing that mangoes grow out of season. But while we were watching, an unripe mango grew on that mango tree. Sripada plucked it. The touch of his hand was so effective that it turned into a ripe mango while we all were watching. Just as a mother feeds her infant child with food or sweets, Sripada fed Sri Sresti with that ripe mango. Sri Sresti wept like a young boy while he ate the mango fruit. The motherly love of Sripada was greater than the love of thousands of mothers put together. One compassion and love shower from his divine eyes, he looks very much like Mother Anagha, who is an embodiment of the three Shaktis. The stone of that mango fruit stood erect in the presence of Sripada, like a servant waiting for the orders of the master. With the hand gesture of Sripada, it then flew upwards. Even though it was in the form of a stone of the mango fruit, it changed into a lustrous entity. Sripada averred. Some people argue dogmatically whether the seed comes first or the tree comes first. However, there is one who was in existence prior to both of these. He is God. According to his will, he can generate the tree from the seed or vice versa. Even the Saptarishi cannot imagine his inexorable resolve. Paramatma, when tainted, is called Jiva. A taintless Jiva merges in Paramatma. When the Jiva merges in Paramatma, all his tendencies exist like fried seeds. Nevertheless, if Paramatma desires to bring a Jiva back into the cycle of creation, no force can stop him. However, when the Jivas who merged in him are brought back into creation, they become persons taking birth for a purpose and they perform the mission of God. At the end of their life, they again merge in Paramatma. Some jivas do not like to merge in Paramatma but wish to remain in Samipya Mukti, in close proximity to Paramatma, and continue in that state of bliss. Paramatma can also make such jivas take a rebirth for a cause to execute the mission of God. At the termination of their Karana Janma, birth with a divine purpose, they will again remain in Samipya Mukti and will experience the divine bliss. In this way, the state of Dvaita, duality, or Vishishta Dvaita, qualified duality, or Advaita, non duality, will be granted in accordance with the wish of the Jiva. Therefore, it is not proper for people to debate whether the duality state, the qualified duality state, or the non duality state is superior. At every moment, creation, sustenance, and liquidation continue to happen. At the end of one kalpa, Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra will rest in the state of the unmanifest bliss of Paramatma. They will again return to a manifest state according to the Mahasankalpa and carry on creation, sustenance, and liquidation in the newly created universes earmarked for them. In the ensuing Kalpa, Hanuman, who is a scholar of the 9 different grammars, will become Brahma. According to their faculties and qualifications, jivas are granted their roles in the administration of the universe. Therefore, since there are many crores of universes in creation, the divine forces employed for their administration are also infinite. Demonic forces that act as impediments to the divine forces are also infinite. Mohammedans call the formless one with good qualities as Allah. Christians call the formless one with good qualities as Jehovah. They name the indwelling consciousness reflected in the creation as Jesus, the Son of God. They also call the heavenly consciousness that fosters peace, courtesy, love, and compassion as the Holy Spirit. I am the one who shines with self effulgence as described in all dharmas, religions, and theories. I am the one who is perceived by different philosophies according to their preferences, tastes, and the paths they follow. I am the independent in all aspects and I am not subject to possibilities or impossibilities. Therefore, I do not have any specified policy. I shine forth with dazzling brilliance through all forms of gods and goddesses. Therefore, I am the one who receives all worships and panegyrics through those irrespective forms. I am the one who grants grace to all. When the illusion of Kalipurusha ceases, the knowledge that I am the embodiment of Sanatana Dharma, which is the quintessence of all religions, will dawn. An aspirant can reach me either through eternal practices or through internal practices. I will always take care of the spiritual aspirant, whether he is an external or an internal pursuer. I am the one who will call them with love. In the Vedas, it was also declared that the truth, knowledge, and eternity are Brahman. I am the one who is the Satya, Gnana, and Ananta Brahman, the divine who is truth, knowledge, and eternal. I am the one who preaches to the atheist that there is no God. I am the one who extols about the existence of God to a theist. I am the embodiment of all gurus. I am the one who shines with self effulgence in all states of spiritual pursuit, such as Satyaloka, Satyanama, Goloka, and Mahashunya. I will constantly take care of the welfare of those who adore me with pure devotion, who cast all their burdens on me and seek total surrender from me. I am Sripada. I am Srivallabha. Grandfather, the Sripada Srivallabha that you see today is none other than the son of Anasuya and Atri of that most ancient yuga. I incarnated in Pitikapuram in accordance with the promise made to sage Bharadwaja. Tears of joy flowed down like a torrent from the eyes of Sri Venkatappaya Sresti. He firmly embraced Sripada. The ecstasy he experienced was indescribable and cannot be expressed through words. After some time, Sri Sresti said, "My dear one, my golden jewel, kindly show your grace on our family. Kindly keep your grace on our lineage. Kindly show your grace on our Arya Vaishya caste." On that request, Sripada said, "Grandfather, let it be so. A Brahmin has the authority to ask for one boon. Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras have the authority to ask for two, three, and four boons respectively. I am granting the three boons asked by you. I am making a solemn promise with the 33 crore 330 million deities as the witness. The Sripada Srivallabha Mahasamsthan will be established in my name in the house of my maternal grandfather Sri Bapanarya, exactly at the place of my birth. During the time of the 33rd generation, reckoned from you, during the 33rd generation of Sri Bapanarya, and during the 33rd generation of Sri Narasimha Varma, I will myself establish my samsthan using a person belonging to your 33rd generation as an instrument for that purpose. I am instructing sage Markandeya, who is the founding father of your family, to receive in some form or the other some portion of the offerings made to me in the afternoon of every Thursday. By this, let the persons born in the Markandeya lineage get benefit. As desired by you, my grace will be on the Arya Vaishyas. I am blessing the Arya Vaishyas to have ruling powers. For that purpose, an Arya Vaishya will become the ruler of the country of Bharat. He will visit Pitikapuram. According to the prediction of a special Nadi astrologer, he will receive my abundant grace. After that, many devotees from Nepal will come to Pitikapuram to have my darshan. My order is like an edict on a rock. No creature in the creation can violate my law. Grandfather, my victory bell will undergo a variety of changes and it will stay in the inner layers of the earth in the place where my idol will be established. As a mark of the arrival of the victory bell, some earthen pots will be found in the excavations there in the future. Great merit is required to extend financial assistance to the Mahasamsthan that is to be constructed in Pitikapuram. Financial assistance will come only from the individuals who were born in the Arya Vaishya caste in some birth and who had some connection with Pitikapuram. Non believers, fools, pedantic, arrogant persons will demand proof for everything. Desires will be fulfilled by the parayana of my hagiography. All obstacles will be removed if one participates in any noble activity connected with my samsthan in Pitikapuram. If I am worshipped with devotion on the occasion of my birth star Chitra, troubles from deaths will be settled. Marriages of young girls with suitable bridegrooms will take place. Afflictions from devils, ogres, ghosts, and other unseen spirits will be removed. Shravana Shuddha Purnima was the sacred day on which Sri Vasavi Kanyaka tied Rakhi to me. Chitragupta, God that keeps a record of all actions of humans, will grant great merit to those who stay in my presence in Pitikapuram on that day. I am an authority unto myself. My biography is a standard by itself. My leelas are their own standard proofs. Is any other proof required to say that the sun is the sun? The Leelas of Sripada are impossible for others. On the next day, Vallabheshwara Sharma couple, Shubbanna Shastri, Linganna Shastri, and I left for Kurungadda for the darshan of Sripada. Sripada blessed us profusely. He said smilingly, "Oh, what sort of discussions? What discussions? Much time has to elapse before the formation of the Sripada Srivallabha Samsthan. When will the debt to the Malladi, the Venkatappaya Sresti, and Vatsavai families be fully redeemed?" After saying so, he became silent. Sripadarajam Sharanam Prapadhye.